I'd like to extend a heartfelt welcome to you to the NAACP Mother of the Year banquet ceremony. And everybody out there is looking really good tonight. Give yourselves a hand, My name is Charmaine Ernest, Elder Charmaine Ernest, and I'm new to the community. That's why you say, well, who is she? But I am new to the community. And I would like at this time to ask Dr. Matt Garrett, who is the interim pastor here at First Baptist, to come up and give us our welcome.
Thank you. On behalf of First Baptist Church here, we're just so delighted to have all of you here tonight using our facilities, and what a wonderful occasion, wonderful night this is, and nothing that a church likes to celebrate more than motherhood. I mean, ever since God told Adam and Eve to multiply and fill the earth, we've had mothers. Amen. And God bless you, mothers. As the old saying goes, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. Amen. And so mothers, keep on rocking that cradle and keep on teaching your children to love God and to love others as they love themselves. Such an important message has to go forward. And when I think about mothers, I think about the little boy who was in his math class at school, little 5th grader, and the teacher was trying to teach him about fractions. And he says to the little boy, now Johnny, if you had a very small pie at your house, and if there were 5 people in the family, and you were going to divide it evenly, what fraction of that pie would you receive? And little Johnny says, 5 people, small pie. I'd get 1/4. And the teacher says, no, listen now, there's 5 of you, 1 pie, what fraction, you're going to divide it evenly, what would you get? He thought again, he said, 1/4. The teacher says, Johnny, you don't understand your fractions. He says, oh yes, I do understand my fractions, but you don't know my mother. You said it was a small pie, so my mother would have said that she was not hungry, so we could all have a little more. That's how motherhood is. And we're just glad to have mothers here honored tonight. And we're also really pleased to be hosting the NAACP. The church has always been in favor of the advancement of people of color and of all people. And certainly in this time that we're living, this society, what is more important than to do everything each of us can do to work toward racial reconciliation? Can I get an amen? Amen. I knew I brought the band along for some reason. I heard some clapping over there. That's good, guys. All right. So anyway, we're just really glad you're here. And I suppose the main reason they got me to get up here was to tell you where the restrooms are. So if you go out any of these doors and turn left, right down the hallway, just a little ways on the left, you'll find the restrooms. So glad you're here. Have a good time this evening. And I'm just so pleased that our church can be a part of this. Come back anytime, worship with us.
And at this time, we will have the Black National Anthem. And while the band is getting ready, my name is Elder Charmaine Ernest, and we know that in 1909, the NAACP, at the very beginning, there was a group of white liberals and African Americans that came together to discuss the beginning of a movement for racial justice. And this was in response to the horrific treatment of African Americans at that time. But there were men and women that were seated at that table, creating what would become the world's oldest, largest, and the most widely recognized grassroots-based civil rights organization, the NAACP. And the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And as a result of that, One of the gentlemen that was at that table wrote this song that we're going to be singing right now. have a prayer by Dr. Thomas Smith Sr. And after the prayer, we will begin to go in the order for a service of dinner. And I'll give you further instructions.
Let us bow. Eternal and gracious God, we're grateful this evening for this opportunity to come together at occasions such as this. Lord God, first of all, to honor you and to say thank you. Glory to your name. You are a great God, and you're worthy of our praise. From the rising of the sun to the going down of the same is your name to be praised. Lord God, we're grateful for this Mother of the Year occasion that brings us together. We're so grateful, God, for mothers. Chinese proverb says that God couldn't be everywhere, so he made mothers. And so, God, we're grateful for the opportunity to honor them on an occasion such as this. And Lord God, we pray tonight that you allow your presence to be in this place, even as we give you glory and praise and honor in carrying out this endeavor. Bless the speakers who've come tonight to share with us what's on their heart on this occasion. Bless the participants. Bless all who came to share. Have your way in this place tonight. And for it all, God, we give you the glory. For we ask it in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
And we are the unique ties that bind. And we got a little out of order. We're supposed to do a song, which we aren't going to do. Amen. I am Pastor Renee Harris of Pine Ridge Restored Baptist Church. And we come to sing song. We come to enjoy this festive day for this Mother of the Year program. We thank God and we wish many, many more to come. So you can just wave your hand or pat your feet, and we come to enjoy Jesus. Amen? Amen. Amen. Oh, in your grace.
1909, when there were men and women seated at the table and they were establishing the NAACP, there were mothers that were seated at that table. Ida B. Wells, Mary Church Terrell, Mary Talbot, Mary White Ovington, and Florence Kelly, and there were many more mothers that were there in the very beginning. These ladies were mothers, and they were the founding members of this great organization, the NAACP. Tonight, here in Sanford, North Carolina, in 2018, we honor the NAACP Mother of the Year banquet. A mother is a person who loves you unconditionally. You know, a mother, there was a series where they asked the little kids, what is a mother? And the children were saying that a mother is the person who wipes your bobo when you get hurt. A mother is a person, and as they get a little older, they realize that a mother is a person that is always there for you. Because there are aunts, cousins, friends, neighbors, church members who have mothered all of us over the years. And they may not have birthed you, but they loved you through your mess. And they prayed for you, and they treated you with such kindness. And that is what a mother is. And a mother is the women that are going to be honored here tonight. Not only are they mothers that are to be honored, but all of us that are here, that have loved someone, even though they may not be your biological child, but you've loved them, you are to be honored also. You are a great mother. Continue to love people through their mess, because God loved us through our mess. That's what grace and the unconditional love is all about. I'll give a special thanks to our sponsors. And for those of you that have enjoyed this great meal, Mr. T.C. Pearson Catering, let's give him a hand. Yes. Some of our sponsors, while you're eating, is Brick City Video, Terry McMillan, Cameron Grove, AME Zion Church, Reverend Kenneth L. Swan, Church of God, Pastor Arthur Simmons, C.E. Willie Funeral Home, Equity Group Realty, Rob Cooper, First Baptist Church, Dr. Matt Garrett, First Calvary Church, Pastor Thomas Smith, JIEC, Brian Johnson, Joanne's Gyms, Kathleen Romley, Paradise Towing, the Honorable Robert T. Reeves II, Reeves Barbershop, WXKL 1290 AM, Mark and Mary Dangerfield. Please give a clap for our sponsors. Because without them and all that they've done for us, we would not be here today. And I thank all of you for coming out. You look good, you smell good, and I hope that you have a good time. Now, I'd like to introduce to some Miss Tamara Rogan. The thread of Tamara Rogan's service to this community is visible everywhere in the complex tapestry that makes up Lee County. She is currently Executive Director of Family Promise, an extraordinary group that helps homeless families break the cycle of poverty and helps them find affordable housing and stable employment. That's the kind of people we need in the world today. She is the president of the Lee County Democratic Women and chairman of the Resource Development Committee for the S3 Connect Homelessness Task Force. Tamara has always been deeply committed to public education. She has served on the Lee County School Board and on other education-related boards and committees, too numerous to mention, She has been and continues to be a contributing participant in the visionary planning that has been a catalyst for the dynamic economic growth that this community is experiencing. She is deeply embedded in the life of our community, and you will find her everywhere you look, working hard for Lee County and making a difference. Her topic today is Empowered and Strong Women. I introduce to you now Tamara Brogan.
Good evening. I'm very excited to be here tonight, and I want to thank the NAACP for inviting me this evening, and I'm excited to be here with all of you and share this great event for the Mother of the Year, and I want to extend congratulations to the candidates that are Mother of the Year this year. I want to take us back through a little trip in time. I want us to think about over the centuries and how strong women have made a difference in their communities and the lives of others. They often did this good work and outstanding works behind the scenes without the knowledge and praise of others. So let's think about this for a moment. I'm going to go back in time. Some of those we have heard in history. We've heard of some of these women. I'm going to bring up a few because I am a history nerd, so I got to bring up a few. Queen Boudica. Queen Boudica lived during the time of Roman times, and she was the queen of the Iceni tribe of the Britons in British Isles. Back then, it was a bunch of Celtic tribes that lived together on the island of Britain. So when Roman invaded, that was not very good for her and her people. So what did Queen Boudica do? I don't know if you know the story about her, but she actually got a bunch of fellow Celtic tribes together, and she went in and defended themselves against the Romans. And she did such a good job that she really kind of held back the Romans for a good while. They took 3 cities that the Romans had held and held their ground. So she really stood up to them against an opposing force, in this case an army that was invading her land. And she basically defended herself and her children and the people that she represented. So to me, that's a good example of a strong woman. But also there's some more recent examples. We've got Clara Barton. I don't know if you've heard about her. Clara Barton was the lady who founded the American Red Cross during the Civil War. She was a pioneering nurse, and through her efforts, she's helped countless lives during that conflict. And she also helped bring about basically new medical techniques that they knew nothing about before the war. So that kind of helped usher that in. So she was an outstanding woman leader who helped a lot of people during the big conflict. And also we've got Susan B. Anthony. Susan B. Anthony, of course, was one of the founders of the women's suffrage movement, which later became, us allowing the vote for women. She started in 1869 with one of the first organizations for women to help them get the right to vote. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that later on. There are many wonderful women like this who've done great things that we've never heard about. And we're going to talk about that a little bit deeper in a moment. But here's an example. There's this wonderful young lady named Sybil Ludington back in April 26, 1777, who lived in New York. And this young lady was only 16 years old at the time, and she rode all night to villages in New York and Connecticut to let the patriots know, the militia know, that the redcoats were coming. Now, we all heard about Paul Revere's ride, right? You heard about that in school. The 3 gentlemen, there's 2 gentlemen plus Paul Revere who did the famous ride, but we never really hear about Sybil. And what's interesting is Sybil actually went 2 times further than Paul Revere and the other gentlemen, and she actually was a lot younger than those men. So she did an outstanding feat as a young, strong woman. So there's also countless of women throughout the Revolutionary War who helped basically on the battlefield. There's stories about them running the cannons, bringing huge amounts of water over to the cannons and gunpowder and doing all that, but we don't hear stories about them too often. There's also women in the Civil War who worked with Clara to help basically set up hospitals and help people and help basically ease the suffering of the soldiers and help with bring forth new medical techniques and help take care of the folks that need them. And also women during the Second World War. The Second World War in Europe was outstandingly difficult. Huge casualties for civilians. So there's a lot of women that stepped up during that period to help with humanitarian efforts. A lot of women were spies that helped go against the Third Reich to help bring it down. So there are women who did things every day throughout the centuries that we don't always hear about, that brought great change, that did outstanding and good works that help others in their communities. So I want us to think about women like the Women for the Right to Vote. You know, that anniversary is coming up in a year. It was 1920 when the 19th Amendment passed. But what people don't realize is the women's movement to vote actually started back in the 1850s. So it took 70 years of strong women setting the example and pushing that forward before women had the right to vote. 70 years. That's a long time. So we're talking generations of women who sacrificed and did everything they could to bring about change, which isn't always easy. There have been strong and empowered women in our lives who do greatness every day. Think back to when you were young. I'm sure you can all think of a teacher that you had in school who really meant a lot to you, who basically inspired you during your educational pursuits and help you become who you are today. Think about your relatives. Think about your mother. Think about aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins, neighbors, people, women that were strong, that did little things every day. They're not in the history books. We don't hear about them. But they did wonderful things every day to shape who you are today. Little things, important things. For me, that was my grandmother, and her name was Helen, but I called her Bubby because that's Slovak for grandma. She was the daughter of immigrants from Hungary, lived through the Great Depression, went through World War II, and I'm telling you, she was tough as nails. She was the toughest woman I ever met. But one of the things about her is she did little things throughout my life that helped me become the woman I am today. And she's definitely an example for me and what it means to be a strong, empowered woman. She was very politically active for her time, back in the 40s and 50s, but she was limited on what she could do because of the time that she lived in. As a woman, she was limited. But she basically didn't give up hope. She worked hard. She tried to set a good example. She took care of her family. She took care of her community. And she did everything she could to do small acts of greatness. And that makes me think about, there is no act of greatness that's ever too small. Every act of love, strength, compassion, and greatness affects the lives and causes a domino effect all around us. And we don't always realize that. You know, you do one small act of compassion, one small act of love, one small act of greatness, right? And it affects the person you're helping, but all those beyond. It's kind of like a domino effect, one to another, and it comes full circle. So even though you might not think that you're an important person, you might not think that that act is anything wonderful or special or spectacular, it is. Because no act is too small. Everything you do, every good thing you do impacts others in a positive way. And a lot of times we don't see that. We don't see how it affects other people. Sometimes it's just smiling at somebody when they had a hard day. Sometimes it's just words of encouragement that they just might need to hear at that moment. It's things like that that can make a difference in somebody's life. And you just don't know how much of a positive impact you can have on others. And you just can't imagine how much that you can help others. So I'm talking about famous women that we don't hear about that have basically impacted our lives and impacted our communities. But one thing we cannot control are the times we live in. We can't control that. We can't control that we're on earth right now and the things that are going on around us all the time.
But we can control how we respond and react to the circumstances of the time that we live in. We have that decision we can make. And that's what the women I mentioned earlier, those famous women, and even the women that aren't so famous, like my grandmother, that's one thing that they did. They reacted to the time that they lived in. And they stood up when they needed to do the right thing. And they stood up to be a good example to everybody around them. And it wasn't always easy. Sometimes it was in the face of great danger. Sometimes they put their lives on the line for others, but they did it anyway. And to me, that's what a strong woman is. That's what an empowered woman is somebody who stands up for the right thing, stands up for what they believe in, and set a good example for others. And that's important for us all to do. All of us to do. So let's think about this for a moment, the time we live in as women. This is a unique time. And why is it a unique time? Because the sacrifices of previous generations of women have ushered in a great time of empowerment right now. I talked about my grandmother, who was limited to her time that she lived in and what she could do as far as being a leader. But now we live in a time where the sacrifices by those previous generations have paved the way. Well, we can take advantage of that now as women. There's nothing holding us back now but ourselves. We live in a time where we can be empowered. We can be great leaders in our communities. And there's nothing holding us back. We live in a very special time. So I feel that it's a time for women to step into their power and their destinies. We all have a destiny to fulfill. And we can reach our true potential this way because every one of us has great potential. And we have to decide, are we going to waste that potential or are we going to do something with it? Because we all have a great destiny. God has a plan for every one of us, a path. And we need to decide if we're going to go on that path with Him or not. Are we going to fulfill our potential or not? Are we going to fulfill that destiny or not? That is our decision to make. So we have to think about that because it's not always easy. Sometimes it's easier to do nothing, right? Sometimes it's easier not to feel empowered or be strong or stand up for the right thing. But that's not what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to move forward. We're supposed to go up to our potential. We're supposed to fulfill our destinies. That's why we're here. So I want to wrap up with an analogy. I want us to think about the game of chess for a moment. Now, you know, chess has different pieces, right? And there's different moves to make. And I kind of feel like our life is kind of like a game of chess with God on the other side. And He's basically setting up the pieces for us. And there's different pieces we can move, right? We can move the little pawn, and the pawn's not a very big piece, right? It's not as important as maybe the knight or, you know, trying to think the other pieces, the bishop. Yeah, it's nice. The pawn's wee little. So that's kind of our decision. Do we move the wee little pawn, or do we do something a little more daring and move the bishop? So we kind of have that choice to make when what kind of piece we're going to move. But basically, I feel like God sets up the moves. He sets up those pieces on that board for us. And each move is different, right? He doesn't tell us what to do. He sets it up for us and allows us to have 2 or 3 options of what move we're going to make. Which piece are we going to move? And that decision falls on us. You know, are we going to take a small piece, a bigger piece? Are we going to move this piece? I mean, how are we going to figure this through? So think about it. When you're making those decisions, just like in chess, you have to have strategic planning, right? You have to have a sense of foresight of what's coming. So you have to plan, you have to think about it, you make your move. But what happens if you don't make a good move? You learn from it, right? So the next time when you're faced with those options, you learn from your past mistakes. And that's kind of how I feel life is. I feel like it's a chess game in the sense of God is setting up circumstances in our lives every day. A lot of times it's behind the scenes that you don't realize. He's setting things up for you. He's setting opportunities up for you, and He's waiting to see what move you're going to make, right? He's waiting to see what pieces you're going to move. You make your decision and you go forward. And if you do make a wrong choice, you learn from it. And then He sets up another he sets up another group for you to learn from, another different movements to make. So it's kind of how I feel our life is. It's a constant, basically, game of chess where we're faced with all these options, and we have to plan and think about it, and then we learn from our mistakes as we move forward. So I want you to think about that as I end this talk. I want you to think about what you can do as women. There's a lot of women in this room today, of all ages, and we're still all fulfilling our destinies every day, right? We're still living our potential every day. But think about the sacrifices of those previous generations. Think about those women for women's suffrage who fought for that for 70 years. 70 years. They sacrificed, they worked, they pushed forward just so we could go in and vote. So we could have that right to vote. But they had foresight, they had passion, they were driven. They knew it was the right thing to do, and they kept it up for 70 years. So just think about that as you move forward every day. Think about how you can be a strong, empowered woman, and what you can do to honor the memory of the women before us who were strong and empowered, and how we can affect our communities, our families, and everyone's lives for good. So I want you to think about that. That's how I'm going to end. Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And could we please give our Tamara another hand? I truly believe that if you were paying attention, 70 years truly is a long time. And some of the folks in this room can probably tell you about what it was like during that time, because there are 74-year-olds that just had birthdays yesterday. All right? So look at him looking around. He don't even realize it. Mr. Fox. My job now is to prepare you for our honorees, because this program is truly about two women, different ages, different backgrounds, but decided that they would step forward so that you could get an example of what mothers look like. Now, if I started to talk about them, then one of them I might cry a little bit. The other, I don't know, I might giggle. But in the process, because they are mothers, I appreciate them. Now, one has a daughter that's a social worker. She's been around the world a little bit, and she says she loves to travel. Wow. I'm just letting you figure it out, since you're going to know in just a minute. The other, by the way, has 7 grandchildren. Say, wow. When you take a look at her, you're going to wonder, really? 7. She's an author. Or should I say co-author? And when I read the bio, I was amazed at the educational level of the other. The military background of one. But they both seem to have the same passion for people. Ladies and gentlemen, can I get my checkers for the ladies? Escorted by her father, who happens to be the president of the NAACP, I'd like for you to meet Miss Cynthia Fox. Miss Fox is our veteran of 14 years. She's the mother of 4 and the grandmother of 7. Isn't she beautiful, ladies and gentlemen? She is also the co-author of a bestseller, I'm Waiting for My Book, all right? And the title is Souled Out, S-O-U-L-E-D, Souled Out. So I want you to welcome her with a round of applause. Escorted by Mr. Finch is Miss Valerie Johnson. Miss Johnson really fascinated me because she's an educator. She is presently on the faculty at Fayetteville Tech Community College. But she's done more than that. She's the trustee. See, this is where folks don't realize when you wear a lot of hats. So, and also she is in the church Sunday school with the youth. See, I already know that's a tough job as it is, right? And she's a part of the Lee County Democratic Party and her community, ladies and gentlemen. Her community of Lemon Springs Extension and Community Association. She's a busy lady. But what I love most about her, as I read her bio, is that she likes to garden. She has those kinds of hands that want to grow stuff. She likes movies. She didn't tell me what kind, but if you got time to watch a good movie, you might want to call her. And she travels. Those are the things that Ms. Johnson liked to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Ms. Valerie Johnson. Now, I'm switching my hat, okay? As the treasurer of the NAACP Sanford Lee County Division, I'd like to present to you our queen. When she becomes queen, she will automatically get a membership, if she doesn't have one, to the NAACP. She will be our representative at the big, grand, I went to my first one last year, that was at First Cavalry. It was pretty awesome. She will be our representative at the Mother of the Year at the state level. If she wins there, she will go on and represent the state of North Carolina. You ready? Used to the rapid rounds. Okay. You ready? I'm ready. Come in the back. And I know you're wondering how we decide which lady wins. Well, it's your monetary donations that you've given. And do I ever tell? How about no? I don't tell, because competition can breed something different. But these both have donated highly to the NAACP and this particular program. The representative for this year's 2018 Mother of the Year is Ms. Valerie Johnson. Ain't that a hole? And if I could sing, I would do that "Isn't She Lovely" song. You know? Ladies and gentlemen, once again, our contestants for the Mother of the Year 2018. Please. Congratulations to you both. Can their escorts please escort them back to their seats right now?
Congratulations. Isn't she lovely? That's about the best you're going to get. Congratulations again. Can we give them a round to our queen? She'll be signing autographs as you leave. The catering service would like for you not to throw away the silverware, please. Thank you. And now, I'd like to introduce to you our second speaker. And immediately following her, we'll have Mrs. Margaret Murchison will come up and present the NAACP Humanitarian Award. But our speaker that's coming up now, I'll introduce to some of you, and some of you already know her, Judge Sherry Seiler Mack. District Court Judge of Cumberland County, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Judge Sherry L. Seiler Mack was born in Siler City, North Carolina, to the late Robert Seiler and Minister Peggy Seiler. She spent her early years in New York and graduated from Ramapo High School, Spring Valley, New York. She attended North Carolina Central University, NCCU, where she joined the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority in 1985. She graduated from NCCU in 1987 with a Bachelor of Arts degree in political science and a minor in public administration / criminal justice. Judge Seiler Mack received her Juris Doctor degree from North Carolina Central University School of Law, where, in addition to her legal studies, she served as research assistant and graduate assistant. She also participated in internships as a law clerk, communications clerk, and interned at the Rockland County District Attorney's Office, New City, New York. In 1991, Judge Seiler Mack was admitted to the North Carolina bar. Her initial legal experience was with the law firm of Barton & Lee in Fayetteville, North Carolina. In 1992, she joined the Cumberland County District Attorney's Office, where she served as Senior Assistant District Attorney assigned to juvenile court. Judge Seiler Mack is a veteran prosecutor with over 21 years experience in the juvenile justice system. Now, let's give her a hand for that. That's a mighty, mighty great responsibility. Judge Seiler Mack is also an experienced adjunct professor with over 20 years experience teaching criminal justice at Shaw University and Fayetteville State University. She is active in her local church, Woman of God, and has a passion for mentoring young people. During her professional career, she has coached and mentored dozens of aspiring attorneys. Judge Seiler Mack has served in several professional organizations, including the Executive Board for the Dispute Resolution Center, the Rape Crisis Center Executive Board, Governor's Crime Commission, Juvenile Delinquency and Prevention Committee, Cumberland County's Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, the National Association of District Attorneys, Fayetteville Minority Lawyers Association, FMLA, Fayetteville Fair Housing Board, and Truancy Mediation Council. In 2013, she was selected for the prestigious Cumberland County Champion for Children Professional Award. And this award recognized her passion for children and significant contributions in promoting the welfare of children. She received her juvenile certification to preside over family court. In 2014, she was elected District Court Judge of Cumberland County, North Carolina. And her most important job is that she is the mother of one son named Noah. And I would like to present to you Judge Sherry Seiler Mack.
I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Force Department can't refuse it, didn't seek it, didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but eternity is in it. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Come on, you can do better than that. Good evening. All right now. I guess that's the teacher in me. I'm an interactive person, so you'll see me. I can't talk the whole time, but that's not what I plan to do. First and foremost, I give honor to God, which is truly the head and my source of my life. I am unapologetically a child of the Most High God. So if I step on your toes, you're sorry. Anyway, As I proceed, first of all, giving honor to Pastor. Thank you for hosting. I had a wonderful opportunity to get to know you a little bit as I was running late. I'm so sorry. The joy of my life, my sweet angel, is 16. Today was his prom. So I was running late, getting him ready for the prom, because I am keenly aware of my priorities, which are my faith, my God, my family, my career, and then I'll fit everything in as it comes. So that's why I was running late. So thank you for hosting and allowing us to be here. I give honor to God. I also just want to give a special thank you, love you, appreciate you. Because my mom and my grandmother taught me long ago. My family's from right up the street, y'all. We can walk, Siler City. They're right up the street, so I feel right at home. But they taught me long ago to give honor where honor is due and give folks their flowers where they can yet smell them. And I am also a keen and a firm believer that family is not only who you're born to, but it's who you connect with. So I am blessed tonight to have two of my sisters. I call them my sisters from a different mister. Stephanie Cameron and Teresa High. Stand up. They came all the way out here. They could have found a million other things to do. But as my grandmother said, they took a little bit of time out of their busy schedule to come out and check on little old me. So, and you could tell when your family's concerned about you because they were texting me, how far are you? I said, I'm right outside the door trying to get in. So I thank God for them being taking the time out of their schedule. They have known and helped me grow in some growing pains and some happy times, a lot of sad times, but they've been there, so I'm grateful for them taking the time out. Give honor, thank you, Mr. Finch, for letting me be here tonight. You could have picked a million other people, but you thought it not robbery to invite a little old country, quasi-New York girl to come down here just to come and be among folks. Now, I'm at home, so I have a nice title, and I wear it, I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong, I am blessed to have the jobs that I have, but I'm just Cherry. As my family up the street call me, Cherry Baby, and I'm all right with that. And my 97-year-old aunt still doesn't believe that I'm grown with a child, with a job, and a house, and a car. And so when she calls me, yes ma'am, and so it doesn't bother me. I'm never too big to remember where I come from. So I count it a blessing to be here tonight. I also just wanted to say that as I pondered about when I was asked, I was talking to Ms. Finch, I was like, what is it that you want me to talk about? And do you have a theme? Do you have a topic? And we were going back and forth, and I thank God for our connection through my cousin. Many of you know him, Donald Matthews is my cousin, so he will volunteer me to go somewhere in a minute. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I said, well, what is it that you want me to say? Can you give me a topic? What is your theme? He said, it's about empowerment and strong women. So as I began to ponder, I said, what is it that he would want me to say to a room full of powerful women? I pondered and I thought, and thinking about your theme, the more I began to think and wonder the purpose of us being here tonight. Why are we gathered here? See, we're gathered here tonight to celebrate the NAACP's Mother of the Year. So I commend both of you. We come here to celebrate them, but as I began to read over my speech, God always gives me confirmation because people who go before me, they steal my thunder. Because I'm saying, I sat there, I said, history, they're talking about my speech. Someone else, as they began to ponder, they kept saying everything. I said, well, I'm not going to have much to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. So what I said was, we're here to celebrate mothers. So first of all, I'd like to pay homage to every mother in this room. So if you are a mother, I'd ask you to stand. That includes aunties, godmothers, come on ladies, godmothers, aunties, spiritual mothers. You can raise your hand, sweet angel. She can raise her hand, that's right. If you're under 18, every woman in here ought to be standing by now. Because as I tell you, thank you. See, family is not only, as I said earlier, who you're born to, but it's also who you connect with. And it takes a special kind of mother. It takes a special kind of woman to be a mother. Most people, when you think of the word mother, the first thing that comes to your mind is automatically, ooh, somebody that gave birth to somebody. But as I tell people in my courtroom, not all children are born of the womb. There are many children that are born of the heart. And I say this because at this very point, everybody can close their eyes and think of somebody that they love, that is dear to them, and they may or may not have 1 ounce of your blood in them, but they're family. And so I tell folks that all the time. Many people are born of the heart. So I wanted to first dispel the myth that a mother is only somebody who gives birth through the womb. That's not true. We're here tonight to give extra special attention and gratitude to Miss Valerie Johnson. Tonight is your extra special night. We come here not only to say thank you, but to honor you for all the hard work, dedication, commitment, passion, fire, and love that you provide, not only to your family, but to your community, to your church, and most of all to this wonderful organization. So thank you. So when you think about being empowered, what does that mean? I'm going to tell you and Ms. Fox Everett what empowerment means, because you are the epitome of that. That means you give the authority to have power over something. It makes you stronger. You're more confident, especially controlling things that are right. See, a mother is defined as a woman in relation to her child or her children. I'm a keen believer in the word says, bring up a child in the way she should go, and when they get old, they shall not. See, it's not an option. They shall not depart. So that means you rear a child with care and affection. Sometimes you give birth through the womb, sometimes through the heart. See, a female parent, especially one of the human race, she's a woman that has born a child, a son or a daughter, that which has produced something. You all are empowered. See, a mother shows love to her offspring, and it's so deeply embedded in her heart. She is highly respected. It's like Proverbs 33. She's a rare ruby. She is among the patriarchs. I like to give homage, as there was a eulogy, a funeral today of one of the greatest matriarchs of this country, Miss Barbara Bush. I don't care what party you are, folks. Come on now. It's about the human. She just reared her children, and she reared folks because she did what was right by people. See, a mother occupies a prominent place. Let's take a little trip back in time again. We're going to go a little history again and find out really where and what the term mother really means and her significance, so that you fully understand and appreciate why we're celebrating tonight the Mother of the Year. As I told you, I'm a big history buff too, so I talk and speak a lot, but I always make sure that anything that I say and anything that I do, I understand what and why I'm discussing a particular matter. My grandmother said she don't want me to talk just to be talking. So go with me, if you will, back in time just for a few minutes. When I began to look up the word mother, I found that mother is a lot of things. For instance, we already said she's a female parent. A lot of you, a lot like me, trying to get those extra pounds off. You know that the mother is the thick slime formed in the vinegar. You know that side of vinegar. Don't act like you don't know. Trying to lose those extra pounds, that side of vinegar. You can't just get the regular vinegar. You got to have the mother in it. In Europe, mother means nearly the same as that of mud or matter. See, a female parent organized and originated this word by expressing the word matter, mold, either the soil of the earth. She's a producer, or like substance, when shaped and fitted as a mold for a casting. And whether the name is connected with the opinion that the earth is the mother of all productions. Whence the word Mother Earth. Many believe mud is the substance from which all things were formed. Isn't that what God did? He just took the mud. But he didn't create the mother first. He said, I'd make her his rib and not the beginning, because I need her to be stronger, to be the backbone and hold it down. If I create her at the beginning, she won't need to have someone to be the rib. That's another story. But mother means different things to different people. In German and Danish, it seems to establish the fact that the popular sense, you know, the mother, the movie, The Matrix, hence the mother pearl. The mother pearl is the matrix of all pearls. She's the best that it has. To be a mother means that you're marvelous, you're outstanding, you're talented, you're heavenly, you're enduring, you're ravishing. You're amazing, you're lovely, you're intelligent, happy, beautiful, and marvelous. You are a mother. Yes, this is what a mother is. As I look at the rich history and purpose of this wonderful organization, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, a civil rights organization that was founded in 1909 in the United States as a biracial, most people don't understand that, a biracial organization to advance justice for African Americans by groups, as you already heard, like W.E.B. Du Bois, Mary White Overton, and Morford Story. It was created by an interracial group, and they had the concerns that were and the challenges that were facing African Americans, especially in the wake of the 1908 Springfield, Illinois race riot. So, in staying with the theme of your banquet, empowerment and strong women, tonight we honor you, Ms. Valerie Johnson, for being a strong woman, determined and empowered to do something that others are determined not to be done. For being a voice that will not remain silent to matters that are important, such as equality, justice, fairness, compassion, and morality. Yes, Ms. Johnson, you are a woman who shows strength and empowerment. See, Ms. Johnson, your strength is exhibited through your devotion and commitment as a dedicated soldier at First Calvary Missionary Baptist Church, where you serve as a trustee in the youth and the Sunday school. You, Ms. Johnson, continue to shine in your community in Lemon Springs Extension and the Lee County Democratic Party. When you were empowered and you are a strong woman, you continue the good fight by always giving. But the thing about you, there's no expectation of receiving anything in return. Your heart is committed to service because you are an empowered and strong woman. You fight when things look like they might not be going well. And you remind me of the old poem that said, when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you travel seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile but you have to sigh, when the cares are pressing you down a bit, you rested if you must, but you never did quit. It seemed to be faint and entering woman. Often the struggler has given up when she might have captured the victor's cup. And she learned too late when the night came down how close she was to that beautiful crown. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver line of the tinsel cloud of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It might be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit, and when things seem worse, that you never did quit. As we celebrate you tonight, Ms. Johnson, as Mother of the Year, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge Ms. Cynthia Fox Everett, a mother, a grandmother, a co-author, a U.S. Army veteran. Thank you for your service. A certified soldier, sold out to her Lord and Jesus Christ. A heart of service, leading by example and expressing the love of Christ wherever she goes. Then, there's Ms. Mildred Petty, the recipient of the Humanitarian Award, because she's involved in and connected with improving people's lives and reducing suffering. She's a person who cares about people who often participates in charity. But you know what? She never wants to be shined or a spotlight on her. Yes, she too is an empowered and strong woman. Her strength is shown through her tenacity and hard work from the tobacco farm to matriculation at Shaw University, becoming an entrepreneur of 3, the significance of 3. I told you my faith. If I step on your toes, I'm sorry for you. The significance of 3, the Trinity, fast food McDonald's chains. Her passion never changed, and that is of helping others all along the way. I'm reminded of the old spiritual that my grandmother sang, which I think is her badge of honor. If I can help somebody along the way, then my living will not be in vain. Thinking of others before herself, we share a common passion for young folks, for youth. I have dedicated my entire legal career to young people. That has been and will always remain my passion. She has given jobs, training, opportunity to many who some cast it away, would never think again, would never give an opportunity, or would never even look at, but yet she gave them a job and provided them with an opportunity. She is a mother to too many, not just those that are born to her and her husband. Many folks look to her for motherly advice. She is not one to be boastful or wanting the spotlight at all, so I'm sure she is cringing that I knew all of this. As a judge, I can find out all kind of information. She feeds many without them ever knowing where the source was, because she makes you, shh, mum's the word. Lee County, I am blessed to be here with you tonight, but I need you to know, Lee County, you all have some strong and empowered women here in your community. You are a mighty, mighty lucky and blessed community. But as we are here to celebrate you, Ms. Johnson, as Mother of the Year, I am sure that as an empowered, strong woman, that this is your opinion. And I know you do not mind, because I shared the spotlight with the other 2, but I know that you are who you are. You know whose you are and how you got there, because behind every successful woman is a tribe of other successful women who have her back. So I'm sure you did not mind me shifting the pendulum just for a minute to give them their flowers while they yet can be smelled. So as I take my seat, I'll leave you with this. Here's to strong women. May you know them. May you be them. May we raise them. God bless you.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Ms. Marshall.
Thank you and good evening. And Honorable Judge Shipp, thank you for those remembrances. I wrote Mrs. Pretty's bio. Then I left it at home because I thought we were going to get one of those programs that had her picture and the whole bio. I said, I don't need to take anything with me. So now I got to do it from memory. But anyway, that's okay. I can do it. After she just repeated it, I can do it. But I am honored to introduce our humanitarian award winner. Mildred Pretty is my good friend. We go to church together. She comes over sometimes and watch me work with the children, the Youth Academy on Wednesdays. And then she goes home and she calls me and says, Margaret, you sure got a lot of nerve to work with all those kids like that. Because we never know what we're going to hear from the kids. They have minds of their own. But Miss Pretty is the oldest of 5 children, the late David and Geneva Sutherland of Duplin County. She was raised on a tobacco farm, and she told me she could do all the jobs, the handing, what are all those things you do when you work in the tobacco? Looping and all that. Mildred can do it all. Mildred told me that she never could spend any money until she went away to college at Shaw University. That's when she could buy her own clothes. But until that time, everybody worked together, and all the money went in the same pot. And ever since I've known Mildred, she joined First Cavalry in 1982. And she has been a part of our church family ever since, doing things, a lot of things she does behind the scenes. I'll call and say, will you do this? She says, no, but then she'll say she'll do it, but she don't want you to tell anybody that she did it. So anyway, I just go along with what she says. No, I'll do it, but I'm doing it quietly. She has done so much in our church. She has worked with so many young people. When she worked at McDonald's, she was the franchisee, she and her husband, they gave scholarships. They helped young people train to be managers. She helped them find a place to live. She helped a lot of kids, and we would go out to lunch, and these same young people who worked for her would come and find her. Miss Pretty, I need to talk to you. So a lot of times we wouldn't even have lunch because some young person needed her advice about something. In our church, she is a part of the deacon ministry. She works on the Black History Committee. She works on the program committee and anything else that her hands finds to do. When they opened the bread basket, Mrs. Pretty and her husband thought that there might not be enough paper plates and paper cups and napkins and things, so they would get shipments every month and take them there. The same thing with canned goods. They made sure they had enough canned goods there for everybody to have something to eat. And they just helped so many people. And when you think about a humanitarian award, you think about somebody who gives from the heart. They don't ask you to help them, they just say, okay, I'll do it. And she has done so much. And a lot of times I'll use her as example for the kids in our youth academy, because young people today think, oh, you gotta have the best clothes, the best gold chains, the best cars, you gotta have the best everything. And I'll tell them about Mr. and Miss Pretty, how they worked hard to get those 3 McDonald's stores. They had one in South City, one in Raleigh, and one in Sanford. And it takes a lot of money to get a franchise, so they had to do a lot of hard working, before they were able to get their stores. And Ms. Pretty told me about, she has a degree in elementary education, but she never taught. Her husband was a teacher, and he was a perfectionist in math. He could take a column of figures and add them in his head in no time. But she always told me about his green suit. When he came out of college, he bought a green suit at Penny's. She said he wore that green suit, the pants, every day to school for a week. On Sunday, he would put the coat on with the pants. And then it was a special occasion, he put the vest on. So he used that suit for so long until they finally got on their feet, and then he could buy whatever he wanted to buy, and she could too. And when we tell the kids that, they say, he wore the same suit all the time? Yeah, but it does not matter what you wear. Clothes does not make the man. So at this point, I would like to welcome and recognize Ms. Mildred Sutherland Pretty for the humanitarian. And your award reads, Lee County NAACP Branch 5447, Forward Together, Not One Step Back, Mildred S. Pretty, Lifetime Achievement Award. And I'm sorry, it's not the Lifetime Achievement Award, it's a Humanitarian Award. That was a mistake of the printer, and that will be corrected. And the motto is, an individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity. Words of the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Congratulations.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, I want to just say I sincerely thank the NAACP for this award. The recognition, I don't use this very often, isn't it? Thank you. The recognition that you have shown me is very humbling and gratifying. I feel truly blessed to live in a community with such loving, caring, and thoughtful friends and neighbors. While this award is indicative of your recognition of any contribution that I may have made, I truly feel and believe that this community has made a greater contribution to me and to my family. And for that, I am truly thankful. I will always treasure this award because this has been a special day for me. and it has been a special day for her family. And for that, I am truly thankful. Thank you.
Congratulations. Can we give her another hand, please? And all of the mothers here and everyone that came, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here as your mistress of ceremony tonight and to be a part of the NAACP. I'm new to the community, but I am putting roots down here in Sanford. And at this time, I'd like for Mr. Bob Finch to come and recognize our elected officials and special guests. And immediately after that, Mr. Irvin Fox, our president, and Pastor Arthur Simmons will give us our closing remarks. Have a blessed day.
State Vice President Kelly Maduga, would you please stand for us so that you can see you? She's the State Vice President. And she's also the president of the Harnett County NAACP chapter. Thank you so much for Carolyn for coming down. Doc Oak was here earlier, our county commissioner. He had to leave. He had a prior engagement. We're going to thank Doc for showing his face. We really love Doc. Kay Vault, she represents Lisa Mathis, who's running for, tell us, Lisa.
Lisa's running for State House District 51, and I'm her campaign manager. She regrets that she can't be here tonight, but she was away on a previously scheduled trip, but she hopes to catch up with you all soon.
Is there anyone else who I did not recognize? Would you please stand? If you're running for office, holding office, Olivia Livingston, school board member and running for re-election. We appreciate everything you do for our community. Thank you.
I guess the first thing that I need to say this evening, thank each and every one of you for being part of this Mother of the Year event. Without you, it would not have been possible. We want to thank the unique ties that bind. Some of those are my family members, so that's why they can sing so good. But again, thank each and every one of you. And Mrs. Ernest, who came into the community, she came right in. Joined the NAACP, and I asked her what she wanted to do. She said, whatever, Mr. President, you want me to do. So you see tonight, she had a great impact on this event. And we thank our mothers, and Mrs. Johnson, we love you. We thank you for what you have done. My sister, my daughter, we thank you for just stepping up. She had some health issues, and so it was kind of hard for her to get here, but she made it. And we thank you. We thank all our elected officials. We have some attorneys, well-known attorneys in there. We thank you for being here with us this evening. Bob got you, didn't he? Yes, he did. That's what I like about Bob. He knows how to pull you in. So, and I just stand back and let Bob do what Bob do because he does a great job. Bob, we really thank you for your help.
Things that I would say in my closing remarks is that we're living in perilous times. And I would truly encourage each and every one of you to keep your eyes and ears open. Try to create an atmosphere where you work together. Please create an atmosphere where we look for the truth and not just try to be first or work with a particular party or group that you feel that you identify with. Because I've been in this business for 40-some years, and I have to suggest to you this, that we're either going to be able to work together or we may have to perish together. And I don't think that's a good solution. I've always tried to look to the better side of things. This is why I work with the NAACP. The NAACP is an organization that truly needs help. So the last comment that I would make to any of you, if you are not a member of the NAACP, there are many ways that you can participate. One, you can become a member of the NAACP, but more specifically, if you have skills, you can donate your skills to the NAACP. The NAACP needs many different types of people that have skills, and those skills are right out there in the audience right now. As an example, I work with the Redress Committee. The Redress Committee looks at various things that happen not only in the community but to our people and so forth. And we need people to assist people in all of these areas, not just redress. We need people to teach people how to get along with each other. And the list just goes on. And I just simply say and encourage you, join the NAACP, or if you have skills, donate your skills to the organization, because it is an organization that can make things better if we work together.